All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for a few real people, just like you and just like me. All right, I'm going to be talking about the late, great Glenn Frey in this video. So here is the Wilder Blue, country rock from West Texas. I used to promote this a bit last year. It is kind of a holy crap Batman experience listening to the Wilder Blue. The instrumentation, there's one song on here that sounds like Fleetwood Mac. It's called Feelin' the Miles. The rest of it is a cross between classic country music and the music the Eagles made early on in their career, for sure. A couple of these tunes you can put right next to Seven Bridges Road, for instance, or Take It Easy or something like that. So the Wilder Blue, absolutely fantastic. Check it out. It's worth listening to. And getting over to the Glenn Frey story that hasn't been resolved yet, and that's the wrongful death lawsuit that was filed by his wife, Cindy, his widow at this point, Cindy Frey or Cindy Milliken. Not sure what she's going by these days. Glenn Frey's wife filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the hospital where he died. Now, most of the articles on this are like 2 or 3 years old. It says here it's not clear whether Glenn's death was complicated by medications he took for rheumatoid arthritis. And there are many arguments out there that, mixing these different medications and somebody should have known better. Of course, we live in a world of sick care rather than health care. RFK Jr. the other day launched his presidential campaign, and I'd vote for him in a second. You know why? Because he's on to everything. The military-industrial complex, the medical-industrial complex, censorship. I mean, like 5 or 6 issues, I'm just like, home run. And he says stuff that other presidential candidates won't say. How does this relate to Glenn Frey's situation? Well, I think the healthcare system failed Glenn Frey. That's my opinion. My opinion is the healthcare system failed Glenn Frey. Anyway, arthritis experts not involved in Frey's care say it is unlikely that rheumatoid arthritis directly caused his death, or that the medications he took for RA somehow caused ulcerative colitis. I'm doing my best with these medical words here, sorry. However, they do report that certain types of inflammatory arthritis go hand in hand with bowel disease. So often the treatments for those afflictions overlap, and those medications can have serious side effects. Gee, serious side effects. Who would have thought that any medication would have a serious side effect, right? All right, I'm not going to go down that road. I know people hate it when I do. Some people hate it, and other people want me to do it more because they can suppress the immune response triggered by autoimmune disorders and increase susceptibility to infections, including pneumonia. That's according to the Arthritis Foundation. So it can suppress the immune response. Very interesting, huh? It's a precursor to the thingdemic. In a way, it's different, but it's still related. Frey's widow, Cindy Frey, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Mount Sinai Hospital and Dr. Stephen Itzkowitz 2 years after Frey's death in January of 2018. As a result of the foregoing acts of negligence, Glenn Frey was rendered sick, sore, lame, and disabled, suffered injuries, pain, mental anguish, was compelled to seek medical care and attention, incurred expenses thereof, and was permanently injured and disabled until the time of his death, according to the court documents. Now, Nights with Alice Cooper covered this. If you didn't know, Alice Cooper has a show. Cindy Frey is suing for $12 million in lost earnings, she says, were caused by multiple occasions of neglect from 2015 that led to Frey's untimely death. Now, here's the most interesting part of this article. The lawsuit is ongoing, according to the Supreme Court of New York, County of New York. So this is still going. I'm not sure what is taking so long to get this resolved. Is the hospital trying to settle this for a lower number? If anything, that number, I know $12 million sounds like a lot, but you're Glenn Frey, and the Eagles have been touring pretty much ever since he passed away. They took a brief hiatus as they were in mourning, but Don Henley said, well, the show can go on now because they had Deacon Frey. They don't even have Deacon Frey anymore in the band. I think he still makes the occasional appearance, but I haven't heard too much about him being with the band as of late. They still have Vince Gill. You know what they don't have? They don't have anyone that sounds like Glenn Frey in the band currently. Which, to me, going to see the Eagles, yes, I get it. Don Henley, kind of the star of the show, was singing more of the Eagles material as the years progressed, but I'm a huge Glenn Frey fan. And it's weird because there's some speculation online that it's his lifestyle that did it. The drugs and the partying and the alcohol and so forth. I don't know. If you go back and listen to his album Soul Searchin', there's a tune on there called Livin' Right. Glenn had repented of his drug and alcohol lifestyle, and he got himself into really good shape. I mean, he was doing television shows and probably maybe even a movie here or there. I know he did some TV, obviously Miami Vice, but he was in I think he had his own show for a little while, TV show that got canceled. And, he looked pretty good in front of a camera. I don't see where his unhealthy lifestyle contributed to something that happened like 30 years later. That makes no sense to me. But then again, everybody's trying to be a doctor here. I think the healthcare system failed Glenn Frey. Bob Seger said, hey, they were trying to do everything to keep him alive. But I wonder if in the beginning they made some fatal errors that made this, an impossibility to try to keep him alive. And this did come out of nowhere. If you remember, I think if you watched press conferences with, say, Joe Walsh or Don Henley or even Don Felder, who never got a chance to kind of, patch things up with Glenn Frey. That's why it's weird that, again, Felder and Joe Walsh don't hang out together. Felder and Timothy B. Schmidt, Felder and Don Henley. I mean, talking about, okay, all right, he wrote a book about you guys. The book was accurate. You didn't like it. He made a few bucks off of it. He's had kind of a decent solo career since that. But at this point, I think everybody would love to see Don Felder back in the Eagles. But anyway, this is just kind of a tragic situation where the medical industry, the medical industrial complex, didn't do what it could have done to keep Glenn Frey alive. Possibly. That's what the lawsuit is about. We'll see how it turns out. I've searched far and wide to see if there's any update or outcome here, but apparently it is stuck in court. I read in one article that they wanted some information from Cindy Frey regarding Glenn Frey's income, maybe to kind of argue the case in the opposite direction, to look at and say, $12 million, look, how much money, it's actually, I think that's a small number. So to worry about her sending them documents for the case, I think is irrelevant. I think 12 million is a drop in the bucket. 12 million is one tour these days for these musicians. I've heard 10 million for each musician is not a lowball number. And we're talking about the Eagles here charging exorbitant ticket prices and selling out arenas, playing Hotel California in its entirety with a full orchestra. You don't think Glenn Frey would have made some money off of that? And deservedly so, right? He should have been sharing in the wealth. So for those people who think that, his widow is a gold digger or whatever, yeah, I don't think so in this one. I think she is probably doing the right thing. But, you can't bring Glenn back. And the Eagles apparently don't want to bring anyone in who sounds like Glenn. I mean, Vince Gill sounds like Tim Schmidt, okay? And Deacon was pretty good. Didn't sound exactly like his dad, but closer than anybody else. But hey, Deacon's not in the band anymore, and so we just continue on. And nothing really to see here, just the high ticket prices. And if you want to go see the Eagles, I guess it's still a cool thing because you got Joe Walsh, you got Don Henley, you got Tim Schmidt, and you got Vince Gill for star power, right? So yeah, it's an all-star night of great music. Oh, and you got Stuart Smith, a guitar player who doesn't hold a candle to Don Felder, but everybody says he's amazing. The Wilder Blue, they're amazing. Check them out. If you like the Eagles, folks, a lot of this music, it's going away. I mean, how much longer can the Eagles go? And we've heard that they're not going to record anything anytime soon or ever. So check out the Wilder Blue. They're good, and they're going to record more music. And there are other bands out there that you can check out that are trying to keep this legacy of rock and country rock music alive. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, people. Hit the bell for notifications if you want, to know when a new video is dropping. Also, Patreon if you want to support the channel for $1 a month. And also YouTube memberships for just $2.99 a month. Very easy to do that as well if you want to just support the channel and not be in a big chat room with other people. Although we have conversations that go back and forth and people send me messages, it's okay. I try. I don't always keep up with them, but I try really hard. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.